All right, now that we've done our warm up for the day, let's get started with our lesson. So we are talking all about customary units of measurement and being able to convert between those units of measurement. So to start us off, how do we measure in customary units? Well, same as we do with metric units. We can measure the length of something, the weight of an object, the capacity, how much liquid something can hold, as well as time. So we're still looking at those 4 areas of measurement. Now, the time units don't change between metric to customary. We are still talking seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years. Okay, so we're not going to be looking much at time because you guys have been doing time for quite a while. We might look a little bit at it if you feel like we need a video on that. Where we're going to be focusing is on the length, weight, and capacity. And today's video is all about length. So we're going to be looking at inches, feet, yards, and miles. So I've got 2 anchor charts for you to kind of give you an idea of the size of these different units of measurement. And what I like about these anchor charts is they also show you the size of the metric units, because I didn't really do a video to help you understand the size of each of those. So I thought we could go through that now really quick, okay? So I'm going to start with the metric side of the anchor charts. So millimeter was our smallest unit of measurement within the metric units, okay? A millimeter, I want you to take your pinky like this, and I want you to look at how thick your nail is on your pinky, like the thickness of your nail. That's about 1 millimeter. You can see in this anchor chart, it says that it's about the thickness of 6 sheets of paper. This anchor chart says the tip lead, like the lead tip of a pencil. Either way, millimeter, very, very small. Okay? Then from millimeter, the next unit up from that would be centimeter. Remember your stair steps. King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. That's your chocolate. Okay, if you take your same pinky, but now you look at the width of your pinky. So from one side to the other, the width of it. Can you see my pinky? That's about 1 centimeter. So it's going to take 10 millimeters to make up that 1 centimeter. Now, this chart over here has decimeter. So decimeter is the length of a crayon. So you can imagine about how long a crayon would be, and that's 1 decimeter. The next unit would be your base unit, meter. Meter is about the height of a chair or the distance from the floor to a doorknob. I'll often use my arms spread apart to give me about 1 meter. And the other unit that we typically use a lot of within length for the metric system is kilometers. We're going to jump all the way up. Kilometer is the biggest unit of measurement in the metric system for length, and it is a measurement of great distances. So both of these charts talk about 6 city blocks is 1 kilometer. So just think it's the unit of measurement used to measure long distances. That's the metric system. That's what we did last week. This week, we're looking at the customary system. The smallest unit of measurement within the customary units of length is the inch. And an inch is about the size of a paperclip, okay? Or you could say it's about the size of from knuckle to knuckle on your finger. Like that's about 1 inch. After inches, we go to foot. That's our next unit. A foot, I will say, is about the size from your wrist to your elbow. That's about 1 foot. You can also just think of a ruler. A ruler is 1 foot. This other chart has the length or width of a floor tile. You're gonna have to be careful about that one depending on which floor tile you're looking at. So I like to use body parts, so that's about 1 foot. The next unit is yard. A yard is about the height of a chair or the length of a baseball bat. Again, I'll use my arms to represent yard. A yard and a meter are similar in size. They're not the same length, but they're similar. We use yards to measure the length of a football field. And lastly, we have mile is the biggest unit of measurement for customary length, And that is our unit that measures long distances. So within the metric system, we have kilometer to measure long distances. Within the customary system, we have mile to measure long distances. So this is when we're in our cars and we're driving. So you can imagine, if I have to go a mile down the road, that's a long distance, and we use mile for that. Over here on the left, you have our conversion chart. 12 inches makes up 1 foot, 3 feet make up 1 yard, and 1,760 yards make up a mile. So if you're noticing, these numbers have nothing in common. Go back to the metric system from last week, right? We were powers of 10 from bottom to top, from millimeter to kilometer, right? Everything was a power of 10, a base 10 number, 10, 100, 1,000. There was a pattern, and we could use powers of 10. All we had to do was move that decimal up or back to go from one unit of measurement to another. It's not the case with customary. This is why the rest of the world doesn't use customary. There's no logical pattern. Why are there 12 inches in a foot, but only 3 feet in a yard? Because somebody decided that. I don't know who it was. You can do research on your own. But for whatever reason, somebody decided to put 12 inches in a foot and 3 feet in a yard. And then they said, let's make 1,760 yards in a mile. I don't know why that number. It's a really weird number. But that's what somebody chose. And so unfortunately, you're just going to have to memorize this. That's all there is to it. Now, I will always give you a conversion chart to use. So if you're concerned about memorizing it, have no fear, but you will need to learn how to use the chart because I will not have any stair steps trick for you to use, okay? So let's look at how to solve these problems. All right, let me get my pen going. So here's our first problem. 5 yards equals how many feet? Just like with the metric system, the first thing that we're going to do is figure out which chant are we going to use. Big to small, multiply them all, or small to big, divide that pig. Which one? So let's look. We're talking about yards and feet. If I go over here to my conversion chart, I can see that there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So the yard is the bigger unit of measurement. The units over here on the left with a 1 next to it are going to be bigger than the units over here to the right. So 1 yard equals 3 feet. So my yards is the big unit. Feet is the small unit. Big to small, multiply them all. What are we multiplying? Well, we're going to take that 5 and multiply by how many feet are in a yard. There are 3 feet in a yard, so we're going to do 5 times 3 equals 15. 5 yards equals 15 feet. Now, last week, some of you had questions. Why do we multiply when we go big to small? Why do we divide when we go small to big? So I want to show you that real quick. If we imagine that this is our total 5 yards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 yard, 2 yards, 3 yards, 4 yards, 5 yards. Each of these yards can be split up into 3 feet, right? So I can split this up into 3 feet. And I can split this up into 3 feet. And I can split this up into 3 feet. And I can split this yard into 3 feet. And I can split this yard into 3 feet. Every yard has 3 feet inside of it. So we could say then this is 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. We took our 3 and we multiplied it by the 5 yards. It's a repeating addition problem. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3 gets us a total of 15. That is why we multiply. Let's look at another one. In this problem, we're trying to convert 60 inches into feet. We're going from inches to feet. No stair steps for us to use, so we've got to come over here to our conversion chart. I can see that there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So the foot is the bigger unit of measurement because it takes 12 inches just to make a single foot. So in this case, inches is smaller than feet. So we're going small to big, divide that pig. What are we dividing? We're taking our 60 inches and we're dividing it by how many inches make up a single foot. 12 inches make up 1 foot. So we're going to be dividing by 12. Some of you might have wanted to put the 1 foot in there. Let's think about that for a second. If you do 60 divided by 1, what are you going to get? That's right, 60. Would it make logical sense that 60 inches is the same thing as 60 feet? No, of course not, because 12 inches makes up 1 foot. These are two different units of measurement. So we're never going to choose the 1 over here. We're always going to choose what's on the other side. 60 divided by 12 using my multiplication facts, I know is 5, because 5 times 12 equals 60. 60 inches equals 5 feet. Why are we dividing when we go small to big? Again, if this is our total of 60 inches, and I want to figure out how many feet are inside of this 60 inches, I would count over 12, and that would give me 1 foot. I would count over another 12 inches, which would give me a total of 24 inches, and this would be my second foot. I would count over another 12 inches, which would get me to 36 inches, and that would be the same as 3 feet. I would count over another 12 inches, which would get me 48 inches, and that's 4 feet. And I would count over another 12 inches, which would get me 60 feet, and that would be 60 inches, which would give me 5 feet. Excuse me. So you can see we took our total of 60 inches and we divided up into groups of 12 to see how many feet there were. That's why we divide when we go small to big.